Oh, the media is already exhausting me at how full of crap they want to be in the first week of this new administration. I thought they might learn a minor lesson. Shame on me for thinking otherwise. But I actually want to believe the best in people. I want to believe that people learn from their mistakes. I mean, I have 3 little kids. They don't. But I like to believe that people try to. Adults try to. And we are on day 4.5, 5 of Donald Trump being the president. And between the local media coverage here in Kansas City and the national media coverage, it is exhausting. And this comes at a time when Donald Trump's approval rating is higher than it ever was at any point during his first 4 years in office. Trump was barely above negative disapproval numbers. Basically, at his best, he had a 1-point approval during his first 4 years in office. He'd be at like 44 approve, 43 disapprove. He's in the double digits right now. That's where Donald Trump is in his approval rating. And the media is acting like it's 8 years ago all over again. And the best example of that, and we have local examples with the way local media is covering this, and we certainly have national examples, is what is happening with Donald Trump when it comes to ICE, when it comes to deportations right out of the gates. So you've seen this over the last couple of days. You've seen them go into some of these larger, bluer sanctuary cities and say, hey, we got criminals in here. We're kicking them out. They are not hanging around, right? And it's like, oh, okay, who's possibly against that? Like, who is against the idea of taking somebody who is here illegally and committing crimes and kicking them out of the country? You wouldn't possibly be against such a common sense thing, could you? Well, people are. I don't take them seriously, but they are. And the greatest example was a place that we ended the show yesterday. It happened right before we got off the air. This illegal immigrant from Haiti who had committed tons of crimes here in America got arrested, was caught on camera, and he said this.
ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Oh, that's from Fox News, Bill Malugin. Thank Obama for everything he did for me, bro. Biden forever, bro.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Even Obama's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. And Biden's like, no problem, man. I got your back, brother. Trying to do his Hulk Hogan as he's whispering and sniffing. This is a perfect example of why Donald Trump won. And if the media is not understanding how bad that makes them look, then they are honestly impossible to help. That guy is an illegal alien with 17 criminal convictions. And he hates Donald Trump because guess what? Tom Homan and Donald Trump are going to send him back to Haiti. He's grateful that Biden let him come here. You tell me at 913-408-7957. I'm glad we're deporting him. And for anybody who says, oh, that's not humane. You want him as your neighbor? Please. Let's go one step further. You got an empty room in your house for him? 17 criminal convictions. Not here legally to begin with. This is the least controversial thing that Donald Trump is going to do during his time in office. Trust me, Trump will do many controversial things. He'll do things I disagree with. Heck, he already has done things I disagree with. I wouldn't have given a blanket pardon to everybody on January 6th. But this is not controversial. And this is where the media, for whatever credibility it has left, is going to bury itself, is going to put the final nail in its own coffin. There will be things that, you can understand criticizing Donald Trump over. Trust me, there will be opportunities for that, okay? I promise you. But not this. Not this fake outrage over who's going to love the immigrants. This is not about immigration. This is about illegal immigration, that ran rampant under Joe Biden with wide open borders. And as a result, you have thousands of people who you would not want as your neighbors who are in this country. And guess where they're more likely to live? In poor communities, and that's the community they are more likely to terrorize. Poor to working poor communities. Not the people in the media who are not going to be the individuals who suffer the consequences from having to have these people as neighbors. They don't care. They don't live in those neighborhoods. They can play the virtue signaling game. They can act as woke as they want to be about it. They can say, oh, this is just awful stuff from President Trump. No, it's not. It's not. And anybody who's trying to convince you that it is doesn't live in these places, has no relation with the people in these places, and is just trying to virtue signal. That's it. 913-408-7957. Tom Homan, who, of course, is in charge of ICE, he went on News Nation last night with Fredo Cuomo. And here is what he had to say about the arrests that are taking place around the country and where the focus is, which is where we knew it was going to be. And that's with people who have committed crimes here in the country after coming illegally.
Well, I can tell you right now, Chris, if we arrested 1,300 people, over 1,000 of them were criminals. Who are the other ones? They're either fugitives who've been through immigration court in order to remove but didn't leave and became a fugitive, or collaterals. Where did the collateral arrests happen? In sanctuary cities, because they forced us into the community. Look, I said from day one, no one's off the table. If you're United States illegally, you got a problem. But we are concentrating on public safety threats first. And it just makes sense. I don't care if a Republican, a Democrat, independent. Why not let law enforcement go into a county jail, a taxpayer county jail, to arrest a guy that you locked in a jail cell? So obviously the public safety threat, that would solve a lot of this problem. And I hope the sanctuary cities come around. I really hope once they see what we're doing, and we'll invite you out, we'll be very transparent. Once they see that we really are concentrated on the criminals, that they'll come to us and sit at the table and work with us.
And that is a brilliant offer from Tom Homan as well, head of ICE. He invited News Nation, Chris Cuomo, out. And he said, hey, you come out, we'll show you what we're doing. We're being very transparent. Basically, they're saying we are going to get the American people on our side. Whether you guys want to join us or not, the American people are going to be on our side here. And if you're going to come out and you're going to bring out a news crew and you're going to bring out TV cameras and you're going to follow us, please do it. We'd love to have you out. Because nobody in their right mind is going to say, oh, man, you're arresting people with 17 criminal convictions who are here illegally. Oh, my gosh. Oh,
how dare you?
You can't be doing that. What are you thinking? There will be maybe 10 to 20% of the country that will feel that way. The other 80, 90% are going to be like, no, that sounds good. And the 10 to 20% are so full of it and so virtuous, as I put up my air quotes, in their approach to the country, that no one takes them seriously anyway, right? This is a massive win. These are people, over 1,000 of them, of the 1,300, who are criminals. The other ones, as Tom Homan just noted, are either fugitives who have been through immigration court that became a fugitive, or collaterals in sanctuary cities. That's what you have going on here. And you see some of the local reaction. I mean, I'm getting people like Manny Abarca, who's a Jackson County legislator, who's like, oh, boy, don't worry. We're looking out for you in the community. Oh, come on, dude. If you're here legally, you have absolutely nothing to fear. And even if you are here illegally in the Kansas City area right now, unless you are someone who has committed crimes while here, you're not a priority at this point. They are scaring people because of politics, okay? That's what they're doing. Because they still can't fathom why they lost on November 5th. 913-408-7957. It's 614 on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. We're always streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. And we've got a lot to get to this morning. Roger Marshall next hour. Kendall Gammon as well. John Holt's going to be in studio for our feature Friday segment on 95.7 FM.
Yo, Biden forever, bro.
It's a Friday morning. It's a red Friday morning, and I know we're all in a great mood. I just want to sour it here for a minute if I could, because I saw something, I heard something, so now I have to torture you as well. I just have no choice. I must share this with you because once I saw it and once I heard it, I had no choice. I needed to share this with you. So I'm warning you ahead of time. This is going to hurt your ears. But I hope it hurts your ears, and I hope it also makes you laugh. This went viral last night. It is a song by an opera singer in Maine named Molly Gawler. Have either of you guys seen what I'm about to play?
I have not.
Okay.
I just listened to it earlier this morning.
Oh, you did? All right. Did that not wake you up, Mark? You feeling good now, buddy?
Oh, yeah, that got me going.
Or are you still trying?
Should I have my headphones on for this or no?
Well, Mark, I want you to have yours on, John, because I just want to piss you off for the next hour or so. All right? That's the kind of mood. I want grumpy John on a Friday. So that's why I'm doing this right now. So Molly Gawler is an opera singer up in Maine, and she put out this video. It is called, and the song is called BIPOC, and that is Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. That's what BIPOC stands for. And she recorded this song in the woods in Maine, and I will share it on X at Pete Mundo, and I will play it for you right now, because this is the kind of content that we are now going to start getting from many as they virtue signal their little hearts out because Donald Trump is once again back in the White House.
Black and Indigenous, people of color. Black and Indigenous, people of color.
Just warming up.
Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, and queer. Asian American Pacific Islander. Asian American Pacific Islander. Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole. Latino, Hispanic, Romani, and Creole. We all have a place in this world.
That's right.
We all have a place in this world.
I didn't have the Creole getting a shout out on my bingo card. Oh, little snaps there, Mark. Nice job.
Coffee shop, yeah.
Snaps, yes. All right, yeah. Woo. Yeah, we all the place in the world.
I want to do some electro behind it if you want to roll it again.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man, it is so painful. This is the kind of content we're going to get the next 4 years. And she's right. We all do have a place in this world. For people who commit crimes, that would be prison. That's where they belong. That's how a functioning society needs to operate. Right? If you're somebody who gives someone else the benefit of the doubt because of where they come from or their skin color, that would be called, let's say it together with the R, racist. Thank you very much. That's what that is. So now we have to sit here and consume this hot garbage. I secretly love it because it's actually good for the show to play this kind of absurdity on loop for you. And I said, you know what? It's a Friday morning. I've got to lighten things up, and that is a perfect way to do it. So this is the stuff you're going to be getting for the next 4 years. These people are standing in the woods in the middle of winter singing songs to pretend that they are the most virtuous and the wokest ever, and that they will stand up to Donald Trump by writing songs like BIPOC. And Mark is still snapping away in there. He just can't get enough of it. Yeah, there he is.
I don't think that she finished the second verse, though. The criminals will go to jail. No, she didn't do that, did she?
No, she missed that part. She missed that verse, I guess. Maybe that's coming out today. She may drop that part of the song today, John.
Oh, it'd be good for Sesame Street. Is that still around?
Yeah, I think it is. My girls will pop it on once in a while.
That's a place where you put that message.
Yeah, if that gets on Sesame Street, then Sesame Street will be banned in our home. I will leave it at that. 913-408-7957 on the text line. Pete, I didn't hear anything about us rednecks in that song. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought she might include you guys, but apparently you didn't make the cut. On the text line, stop, my ears are bleeding. Okay, listen, mine were too. That's why I had to share this with you, all right? I had no choice. Once I heard it, you had to hear it as well. Someone has to take that song, though, and do a mixtape with,
Yo, Biden forever, bro.
There's got to be some way to mix this all together. I don't know. Maybe Timberland can come out of retirement and do it for us. Just trying to figure out a way to make that work. So in the meantime, what you've got is President Trump doing the things that he literally promised he was going to do. None of this is like, I can't believe this is happening. No, we are deporting people who came here illegally and then committed crimes on top of it. And you look at some of the approval numbers for Donald Trump. Look at these numbers. This is from Rasmussen. It dropped yesterday. Donald Trump's approval is positive amongst all races. White, black, Hispanic. He is above 50% per a new poll dropping yesterday from Rasmussen. And what do you get on the media? What do you get from your national TV, from some of your local TV folks as well? I mean, there was a story this morning. KCTV5, Kansas City area school districts weigh impact of federal policy shift allowing ICE access. We told you about this yesterday. Olathe sent a letter to its employees saying, we are aware of the new federal policies and we're working through it. If you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact your supervisor or building leader. Thank you for all your commitment to our students. Okay, Tom Homan's not going after 8-year-old kids. All right? He's not. They're making up the hysteria around this. They are going after people who have been in the country illegally, who also have committed crimes once they got here. These are adults. These are not 8-year-olds getting pulled out of third grade. This is embarrassing from the Olathe school districts, and it's also embarrassing from the local media that's covering this thing the way that they are. Is anyone going to push back on Olathe in the media and say, this is really not necessary? Of all the things that you guys could be focused on right now as a school district, this is not it, ain't it? But they cannot help themselves. And the media will willingly go along like a bunch of clapping seals. Oh, this guy's a stud, man. He is just an absolute stud. This guy, Pierre Poilievre. I had to look up how to pronounce his name, but he's the conservative guy up in Canada who is potentially set to be the next prime minister. It's going to be a few months. They got to get the house in order up there in Canada, soon to be the 51st state. No, I'm kidding. It's not going to happen. But they are actually on the right trajectory. And I saw this TV hit that this guy, Pierre Poilievre, did yesterday in Toronto. And I'm like, this dude is a stud. Now, he's getting comparisons to Donald Trump, but it's mostly just because they're both conservative populists. He's got a very different approach to Trump in the sense that it's not as in your face. It's not as much of the bull in the china shop. It's just kind of like, I'm going to own you in a very polite, roundabout way. And this television hit he did in Toronto was just perfect. And take a listen to the TV anchor just fumbling and mumbling and bumbling all over himself with the guy who could be the next prime minister in Canada. This is great.
On his first day on the job, President Trump signed an executive order, the U.S. government only recognizing two genders, male, female. They're unchangeable. If elected as prime minister, is that something that you're going to kind of walk in line with, or what are your feelings on that executive order?
Well, I don't know. Do you have any other genders that you'd like to name?
Me personally?
Yes.
I'm just asking more so if you're in line with what he is saying. Do you agree with what he's saying? Is that something that you would be lockstep with if elected as prime minister?
Well, I'm not aware of any other genders than men and women. I mean, if you have any other that you want me to consider, you're welcome to tell me right now.
Well, there's personally, I am a man. I am as
okay.
People who say cis man. There are people there who, they say they're
me too.
Gender
I'm a
neutral.
Man. Well,
you are a man. Yes. There are people there who say they're gender neutral. Yeah. They say they're gender neutral. They're a trans person. Is that something that you would recognize here, whereas in the States, at least with their U.S. government, the way they're seeing it, there's only two?
I'm only aware of two, but I mean, if you come up with another list, then you're welcome to do that. But I'm aware of two.
Oh my gosh. It was so dry. It was so matter of fact. And to put the ball back in the court of the pretty face dope of a TV anchor there in Toronto was a thing of beauty. Because here's the problem for that guy. The TV anchor in Toronto, who said he was a man, but, I'd like to check because he sure didn't come off like one in that conversation. Well, I'm a man. Well, not sure about that based on how you were handling that conversation, big fella. But either way, you listen to him there, and he's like, well, I'm a cis man, and I'm just wondering if you agree with Trump. And the matter of fact, deadpanned answer there from Pierre Poilievre was brilliant. I'm only aware of two. What else is there? And the way he just can't answer the obvious question was all you needed to hear in that conversation. So yesterday, I was actually talking about this with an old friend of ours here at Cumulus, Kansas City, and many in this audience will remember him, Kelly Urick. Did obviously morning radio here in town for many, many, many years. Most recently down the hall with our friends at 94.9 KCMO. And we were texting yesterday, and I was asking him about this guy, Pierre Poilievre, who is, once again, the favorite to be the next prime minister in Canada. He's a conservative populist, and it's going to take a while. Trudeau basically is still there, but once they get back in session in March, what's going to happen probably is the Parliament will vote no confidence on Justin Trudeau, and they'll have an election sometime in the spring. And right now, this guy, Pierre, who's the conservative, is the favorite to be the next prime minister. So we're texting back and forth, and he was just telling me, Kelly was, because he lives up in Canada now, that there is a huge groundswell of this young conservative movement taking place in that country. He said the young people there all support Donald Trump back in the States. He said the older people, not as much, but he said the groundswell conservative movement is with the young people in Canada. And I'm like, that is fascinating to me. He said the old guard, not as much. It's all coming from the youth. And it's like they're seeing what's happening here in the States. Social media is actually helping this. And these young people are breaking off from the woke indoctrination they've received there in Canada for all those years. And he said where he lives, it's like 90% conservative. He said the young people are going nuts. They love it. He says it is expensive. The gas tax is crippling, but they're seeing what's going on in America and they're waking up. And the fact that it's happening with young people is just amazing. So it's a different approach from Donald Trump. It's probably more about like the way I would approach it with just the deadpanned, put it back in their court and let them answer their own ridiculous questions to realize how absurd these questions are. I think that's a brilliant way to do it. But if you get Trump with this guy, Pierre Poilievre, up in Canada, man, it is a new world order in North America for the better, I will add as well. This clip has to live on forever. There's no choice. This moment in time has to be defined in American history by this very clip of this illegal alien who had 17 criminal convictions here in the United States, was rounded up yesterday by ICE in the city of Boston. And the guy says this.
ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Woo!
Yo, Biden forever, bro.
Biden forever, bro. 17 criminal convictions in the United States. Finally, the guy is going back to Haiti. Doesn't belong here in the States. There is no sympathy for him. He is a convict. This is not controversial. These are not people that you want in your country. But somehow, in the wake of all this news this week, that Donald Trump, led by Tom Homan who's heading ICE, is going into sanctuary cities and is rounding up the worst actors in these cities, in these towns. These are people who have committed acts of violence in American cities and are just kind of hanging out, just living their life. Well, those days are over. And thank goodness they're over. America is safer today than it was 2 days ago. That's indisputable based on these arrests and deportations that are happening right now. There have been hundreds of arrests. You heard from Tom Homan on News Nation last night with Fredo, when he said who these people are that they're going after.
Well, I can tell you right now, Chris, is we arrested 1,300 people. Over 1,000 of them were criminals. Who are the other ones? They're either fugitives who've been through immigration court in order to remove but didn't leave and became a fugitive, or collaterals. Where did the collateral arrests happen? In sanctuary cities, because they forced us into the community. Look, I said from day one, no one's off the table. If the United States are illegally, you got a problem. But we are concentrating on public safety threats first. And it just makes sense. I don't care if a Republican, a Democrat, Independent. Why not let law enforcement go into a county jail, a taxpayer county jail, to arrest a guy that you locked in a jail cell? So obviously it's a public safety threat. That would solve a lot of this problem. I hope the sanctuary cities come around. I really hope once they see what we're doing, and we'll invite you out, we'll be very transparent. Once they see that we really are concentrated on the criminals, that they'll come to us and sit at the table and work with us.
Trump will do things that will be controversial. This is not even close to being one of them. Taking illegal aliens who are criminals on top of that initial crime, technically, and sending them back. Like this Haitian guy, 17 convictions, 17 in the United States. And he gets arrested and he's screaming about F Trump and I love Biden. Biden forever, bro. Come on, John, let's say it together.
Pretty clear English, though.
Yeah, his English is pretty good.
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. He's clearly enjoyed his time here, right?
Yo, Biden forever, bro.
Biden forever, bro. Even Jill's like, nah, I'm good. No, Biden forever, bro.
Come on, man.
So now you tie this into how it's being covered locally. And this is where the media is going to kill itself. I mean, it's basically dead, but this is where they're going to put their final nail in their own coffin. You get the local media spin on this. And what does Woke 41 do? They do this package, and they highlight this church in the Kansas City area that is very concerned about its congregation because of these new orders out there where the Trump administration is now going around and rounding up and going after the worst actors in cities all over the country and kicking them out of the country when they're not supposed to be here. And they've committed crimes in this country. So what does our local media, or at least one of our local media outlets, decide to do? Well, first off, they live up to the nickname Woke 41. I've given them for years. And part two is they just sound totally ridiculous.
All right, this more changes as President Trump works to carry out the largest deportation program in history. The White House announced it will now allow federal immigration agencies to make arrests at schools, churches, and now hospitals.
KSHB 41 News reporter Charlie Keegan explains how our community is reacting to the changes.
On Sundays here at Redemption Church, there's a service in English and a service in Spanish. And that's not where the outreach for the immigrant community stops from this church. They do lots of things here, and they want to continue to be good neighbors despite these policies.
Part of the way we live out our faith is to be in solidarity and be united with the immigrant, the orphan, the widow, and vulnerable people.
Mandy Hill is a pastor at Redemption Church. A lot of the people who sit in these seats also take English classes and attend immigration workshops at the church.
People are scared and upset.
President Donald Trump's new policy takes away the sanctuary status that keeps ICE agents from arresting people in the country illegally while they're at church, school, or the hospital.
We will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
It's really upsetting to know that in just one foul swoop, what was considered a safe space for people could all be turned upside down.
Olathe, Liberty, and KCK schools told us they're all working to better understand the impact of this new policy. A KU hospital spokesperson told us the same thing. Some immigration advocates worry the rules could impact some migrant families from getting medical attention or attending school. Hill said the worst possible outcome is ICE agents bursting through the church doors one Sunday morning.
It would be heartbreaking.
Still, Redemption Church is committed to being a good neighbor for the immigrants it serves. In Olathe, Charlie Keegan, KSHB 41 News.
Man. I guess there really is no price on selling your soul for ridiculous, woke TV packages like that. My goodness gracious. Now, I suppose there's a chance if there's a really bad actor who ICE knows happens to be in a church at a given time, they may come in and arrest that person. But if you think we're going to have mass videos of ICE agents barreling in the church at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning and ripping people out of the pews, I know that is kind of this like left-wing wet dream that they may have, but that video I don't believe is ever going to surface because it's not going to happen. But what do we call this now? This is now fear-mongering to the nth degree. You have a policy that is supported and was voted on by the majority of the American people, let's be very clear, right? Like, what is happening right now is something that Donald Trump ran on. He ran on this idea of very quickly using ICE to go after illegal aliens who have committed crimes in this country, who have no right to be here and have committed crimes against the American people. And you've got local TV package like, I don't know. We're going to, people are going to get ripped out of the pews one Sunday. Stop. You sound ridiculous, John.
Maybe this is time to remind them it's only a few people.
That's true, too.
Just a couple of incidents have been reported.
Yeah. Well, that's true as well,
right?
Flip that right on them.
Yep.
That's what that's all about.
Or they're spreading fear, or it's just a few people.
Yeah, which one is it?
One of the two.
Which one is it? So when I hear these reports, it's like, man, I get it. You want to localize the national story, but can you localize it in an honest way? Can you not just go to the wokest church you find in the Kansas City area and just literally live up to the billing of Woke 41? Do yourself a favor. Do your viewers a favor. And just cover this honestly. Listen to what Tom Homan is saying. Listen to who they're targeting. And listen to the goals that they have as they roll out this deportation plan. Seriously. I mean, listen. Use your ears and actually listen. Instead of just jumping to these conclusions and finding the right pastors who are going to say what you want to say. That's what's going on here, John.
Heartbreaking is not ICE coming through the door Sunday morning at church service. It's Laken Riley's murder.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking. You're spot on. And there will be fewer incidents, God willing, like Laken Riley, the young girl who was killed by an illegal alien who already had legal issues in this country when she went out for a run at the University of Georgia. There will be less tragedies like that because, well, we've already gotten out, or we're getting out, 1,000+ individuals who are here illegally and have committed crimes. And that's a win for the American people. And if there's a pastor in Kansas City who doesn't like that, sorry. You can keep doing the interviews on local news, but they can keep burying their ratings and burying their credibility at the same time. And I guess I'm here for that because we'll keep growing on 95.7 FM. I think people got it all wrong. I'm rooting for this dude to win Best Actress. I am. Good morning. It's great to be here on Case. Every time I look at these guys on the other side of the glass, they just start laughing. And that makes me hopeful that people are laughing on the other side of the radio, but I obviously have no idea. I just sit here and tell a bad joke once in a while and hope someone gets a kick out of it, just like when I'm at the dinner table with the girls. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's not. But I really hope that this dude wins Best Actress. I do. And some people that agree with me politically are like, oh, no, this is outrageous. It's like, no, this is great. There should be no outrage. Let this dude take home the Best Actress trophy at the Oscars coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm here for it. So Carla Sofia Gascon made Oscar history yesterday, becoming the first openly trans actress to be nominated for an Academy Award for her performance as the title character in Emilia Perez. It is a Netflix musical where Gascon plays a cartel boss who tries to atone for her past after transitioning in secret. Wow, can't believe I missed that. Didn't show up on my recommended Netflix series, John. Can't believe it.
Yeah, I was thinking we should use the word titular as in title of. Yeah.
I mean,
Emilia Perez. I saw the Golden Globes deal on that.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So I looked up the movie premise, and I'm like, this is obviously a fantasy.
Yeah.
This could not happen.
This is, I mean, you think the cartels are all about, like, transgender cartel bosses? My gosh. You wonder why so many of the Taylor Sheridan shows are doing so well, right? Shows that are just like about normal America and yes, have drama. But, you know, the Billy Bob Thornton show right now that I haven't watched in a couple of weeks, but we're watching. Why am I blanking on it? But I am. Yellowstone, of course, his biggest hit, Landman is what I was thinking of. Because it's like normal plots that appeal to normal Americans without the crazy woke nonsense in it. So Gascon plays a cartel boss who tries to atone for her past after transitioning in secret. I mean, you got to be kidding me. You think there's any possibility that storyline would ever happen in the Mexican drug cartel? My gosh. So anyway, Carla has been nominated for an Oscar. And I hope that Carla wins the award for Best Actress. The actual female actresses who get robbed, most of them will deserve it. None of them will have the courage to speak out. All of them have supported this madness. And now it's all turned on them. To me, this is poetic justice. That's what this is if Carla ends up winning. So I'm not going to be outraged because the people who will end up losing the most will not be outraged, at least not publicly, because they don't have the backbone to do it. So why am I going to be outraged for them? I see all these people on social media who, don't agree with a guy winning a female trophy or female award being like, this is outrageous. No. Let reap what you sow. I'm going to kick my feet up. I don't know if I'll watch the Oscars. I don't know. The ratings haven't been great, obviously, the last several years. And here's the problem, too. I mean, what movies have I seen this year that might be up for the awards? That's the other problem. The Oscar voters are not in tune with the American people. The movies that do the best at the box office, never win the awards. They always pick these obscure movies and series that no one watches. So that's the main reason. I don't know if they'll wokeify the whole thing or not. I just sit back and I say, yep, take the award. I'm good with that. Doesn't bother me one bit. I'm all in. In the meantime, as we sit back here in Kansas City, obviously, we're getting ready for the big game on Sunday. I guess the Today Show was here in town this morning as they did a little pep rally over at Union Station. I didn't happen to see what it was all about. I'm sure it went well for the Today Show. I'm glad they were here. I guess a bunch of the fake Andy Reid guys were in town as well. Now, speaking of people pretending to be something they're not, how many more fake Andy Reids can we get here in Kansas City? I mean, I know some of these guys, but how many fat guys are going to put on a blonde mustache and call themselves Andy Reid in this town? It was kind of cool when there was two of them 2 years, or 5-6 years ago. I remember inviting a couple of these guys into the studio because they were big hits on social media. Now you walk down to every street corner and there's a fat guy pretending he's Andy Reid. It's like, I can only do so much of this, fellas. And then I get them confused. I think one guy's the other guy and the other guy's that guy and this guy's this guy. It's just, it gets me all out of shape.
One of the guys has a talent agent now. He
Are
does
you serious?
appearances, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Now these guys are going to be charging me to come into the studio?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
I think it's the opera singer guy.
They got a talent agent?
Yeah.
To be a fake NFL head coach?
Uh-huh.
I mean, and I say this with all due respect to Andy Reid. It's not hard to pretend to be Andy Reid. It's not. You put on a headset. If you're an overweight 60-year-old guy, you put on a headset, you put on a fake mustache, and, like, you're mostly good to go.
I think the fake Andy Reid that has the talent agent appeared on one of the State Farm commercials.
Oh. Well, I mean, if he's charging to go on State Farm, I kind of get it. But here's the thing. They're now a dime a dozen. State Farm's a sucker. If they're paying big money for a fake Andy Reid, these guys are walking around every street corner in this town now, John.
The guy's name's Chris that came in the studio a few years ago.
Yes,
Chris Brown.
Yes, and he's a listener. He's a good guy.
Sure, and he looks as good as any of them.
Yes,
right? So we've already got that covered.
Yeah.
I'm more entertained by the babies and the children when they do that. They have the little kids with the mustaches and things.
Oh, that's so true.
Those are more fun.
Yeah.
This guy that I'm looking at, Matthew Black is his name. Almost Andy Reid LLC.
He's one of the OGs with our buddy Chris.
Mm-hmm.
They're the OGs, but now everyone's trying to be fake Andy Reid. And it's kind of worn out its welcome. Yes, that guy's an OG, and then our buddy Chris, I think he's a Northlander guy. He's an OG too, John.
Meanwhile, Denny's wants their menus back.
Oh, man. So I weaved together two stories of people pretending to be something they're not. All right? So there you go. I thought that was
the magic of radio.
Brilliantly put together. Paul in Kansas City, what's up, big man?
Hey, Pete, yeah, you're exactly right. I think the Oscars, to me, is just like the Davos of entertainment, just a bunch of elitists that want to tell us how to live our life. And then the one disappointment I had on nomination was for a short film documentary was Trump's press conference. Why didn't they get nominated?
Oh, man. There could be a lot of those. Could you imagine Trump going up there to accept an Oscar in front of those goobers?
Oh, my God.
Holy smokes. Oh, my gosh.
The way he dressed down Davos, I could just see him dressing down all those actors like Ruffo and the rest of those clowns.
Well, I mean, he dressed down Davos this week. He dressed down Biden to his face during his inaugural speech.
Fantastic. He deserves an Oscar.
I mean, that was historic, man. Joe Biden showed up to his own roasting on Monday. That's what it was. Oh.
Absolutely. Go right. Chiefs, Pete.
Go Chiefs, Paul. There you go, big man. That's great. No, you're right. Trump's had multiple roasts this week. He roasted Biden to his face during his inaugural speech. He roasted Davos, what was that, yesterday? And he might have a third roast on tap for today when he goes out to see Gavin Newsom in California with the fires. I mean, that could open up a whole nother can of worms. We'll see how that goes. 913-4087-957. Wes and Gladstone, go ahead.
Yeah, Pete, I think you're a little off base here on this cartel thing. You know, the trans actress who's playing the cartel chief. I can see someone transitioning as a cartel thug, right? What I can't see is them singing and dancing. The musical part, that's the part that I can't get into, okay? The rest of it, I
a line
think
too
is
far.
right. That's a bridge too far, man. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's very believable. I think Hollywood is right on. But is the singing and dancing, is that like with a mariachi band or something?
Yeah,
I mean, how do they pull that off, you know? I can see one of their songs. I'm about to cut your head off. Da-da-da-da, here we go. You guys have a good weekend. This is hilarious, man. Okay. Bye.
Not since Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh.
I will say this. If Cynthia Erivo does not win Best Actress, girls in my house will go crazy. They love Wicked.
Oh, yeah?
Big Wicked fans. Listen to the soundtrack a lot at my house.
Oh, gosh. Big Wicked fans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll hope that for your sake, Mark. You going to let the girls stay up and watch the Oscars that night?
No. I'll just let them know.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's how much the Oscars has lost its, I think, general appeal. I don't even know what the heck the date is. Sunday, March 2nd. Okay. There you go. Sunday, March 2nd. I will make sure I don't circle my calendar.